And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mindset Live. I'm Gareth Davis in Los Angeles, California, and we're here today to discuss some ghost evidence. Of course, I'm joined by my good pals and co-hosts of the Nocturnal Frequency radio show. Let's shoot straight over to Canada. And, of course, Mr. Steve Genier, the creator and host of Nocturnal Frequency. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Gareth. How are you? Hey, guys.
I'm doing great, man. Great to have you on the show today. We got some great topics, some wonderful ghostly things to discuss. Let's see. We got your co-host on here, Mr. Alex Rondini. What's up, Alex?
Good evening. How's it going?
It's going. It's going. And, of course, the next one we got to bring in. We got to bring in, of course, Mr. Justin Villarreal.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening. You know, I'm super stoked that Justin's on because everything is working.
Yeah, we got everything working right now.
I don't know if regular viewers know the last time we were on, Justin had his
I was black.
He had his voice.
Yes,
but no video.
Voice. I was just a shadow.
Whereas this week
we had everything.
We got it all. It's all here.
The package.
They're all here today. Okay, so where do we begin? How do we kick this off? Ghost evidence. So, I mean, we've all heard those scary stories, things that go bump in the night, the spirits, the specters, the demons, all floating around. But what constitutes evidence of their existence? Do these things exist? Well, from personal experience, of course, there's many anecdotes and stories that are floating around there. But what constitutes evidence? If I had a supernatural encounter and I wanted to prove it to somebody else, what can I use to convey the authenticity of my experience? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, of course, a photograph.
Of course.
So, guys, let me throw it out to you. We've all seen multitude of supernatural photographs over the years. But how can we prove the real from the fake? Let's go to Steve. What do you think, Steve?
Real to the fake. Well, let's remember one thing when we're dealing with the paranormal, if you will, that it's entirely based on theory, right? And some scientific equations in there, but I mean, when you're looking at a photo that somebody presents to you and says, "Look, I have something," there's a process you have to go through. Look at the what's the photo on? Is it film? Is it digital? Is it video for a still shot from a video, or is it camera phone? Whatever. Now today, camera phones, right? It all goes down to the metadata.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been tweaked? Has it been edited? Has it been photoshopped? And people figure that there's not a way to tell if a photo's been photoshopped. But there is. I mean, there is a stamp. There's a stamp. There's metadata will tell you if the original photo, the original file, has been screwed around with.
But the thing is, though, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Yeah, you can dig into the metadata of the digital file. Yeah. But the metadata can also be tweaked, adjusted, changed, effed with, if you know what I mean.
It can, but then if that too has been screwed around with, guess what?
Well, I hear Justin agreeing. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, there's most definitely something to take into account when looking at different mediums for this type of supposed evidence. I mean, even in our age of the digital age, earlier cameras with very minimum pixels can make anything look like anything, from a distance, up close, blurs, all that. We haven't really had the best cameras up until probably a decade ago. Just user-friendly, right on our phones now. I think I have almost a 30 megapixel camera on my phone.
30
I'm destroying it.
You got a 30 megapixel camera on your phone?
Than that. I think it's like it's like 20 or something like that. It's a OnePlus 7, so I mean the pixels are pretty high on there. But yeah, there's phones out there with high camera pixels and resolution on there, depending on what you get. But you can, I mean, we're making movies on iPhones and good smartphones as it is. So I mean, it's out there. But earlier, when we had a lot of evidence, we just pretty much accepted whatever was given to us, and in a sense, it probably was a little hard to tell what was what because we were so used to the graininess and whatnot. But there are details that you can look for when you're looking into a lot of pictorial evidence, especially if it's Photoshop. There's a lot of distortions within the picture that you can point out. And sometimes lighting effects will show what they look like. And a lot of photos, you can clearly see that the picture looks overlaid right on top of it, but that doesn't stop people from believing those things. I've had pictures of all sorts of things being sent to me since I've been involved in this field, and the majority of them, they're altered, they're doctored, or overall fake, and that's something we have to take into account. Even with groups, I mean, take for instance, being so long into this, I'm sure you guys know, but where are the mist pictures at? Remember that?
Yeah, the mists, yeah, for sure. But we're rapidly encroaching into an area where digital effects in Photoshop are becoming so good.
Yep.
That when it's done right, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
To differentiate real from fantasy.
This is true.
Let me ask Alex about this. Alex, do you think that you could be presented with a photograph of a ghost and not be able to tell that it's real or fake?
For myself personally, probably not. I'm not that technically inclined to be able to see if it has been fooled around with. However, there are some pictures that you almost get a gut feeling that it's just almost impossible that this could be a legitimate photo. I tend to kind of look at photos of quote-unquote evidence of ghosts and whatnot with a bit of a skeptical eye, just because of that fact, because I know that even with today's technology, it's so easy to fake photos, and unless you're in the field itself, you're not, like I'm talking about like editing field and what have you with Adobe and all the other apps. If you're not in that field, then I would just kind of approach it with caution, so to speak. Yeah. And just not necessarily believe everything that people say.
I would agree with that. I think the thing that will differentiate between a real and a fake modern, like a modern photograph, is witness testimony.
Of course.
Is how many people are present, how many people see it, how many people witness it, how many people can corroborate what has been caught on I was going to say on film, but on digital, right? Yeah. So it's not just the photograph itself. It's the situation that it happens in, and the people who also witness it. That adds credibility to the photograph, to the overall truthfulness or not.
Validity.
Yeah, validity of the image itself. Now we have a number of photographs that we want to go through tonight on Mindset Live and talk about. The first one I want to talk about is it's a photograph that Steve took. Let me just pull it up here. Just take a second. And this photograph, I found it spectacular. Let me just switch over to this so we can see it now. This looks kind of dark, and viewers, you should be able to see this on your screen right now. And it's got the SOPS logo in the bottom right hand corner, but it looks this is like a corridor of a hospital. So Steve, could you kind of run us through exactly what we're looking at right here in this photograph?
I was doing a scouting, sort of a scouting detail, sort of an old hospital that's now non-existent. It's demolished now, and it was used as a hospital for World War II injuries that had come back and were needing medical attention, obviously, and for obviously the duration of World War II, and then became a I don't want to say an asylum, not an asylum, but some sort of a sanitarium, if you will. I hate using those words, but that's pretty much what it was. And a lot of the nurses that had worked there had, pointed out they had many experiences with what they, basically claimed was a paranormal incident. And we decided, well, we have an opportunity to investigate this finally. Unfortunately, we had to go through the demo company to get permission to go in there. There was a lot of transients. Obviously, this place had been abandoned for many years.
That's always something that I've always thought about, and now that I have. I'm talking to like legitimate ghost hunters here, people who've actually gone out and done paranormal investigations. When you go into a facility like that, an empty, abandoned location, how often do you run into, homeless people that are just hanging out there or sleeping there?
Again, it depends on the location. I mean, in this particular location here, we didn't come across anyone at that point because they had been cleared out because they were getting ready to demo the place. But we were given a window to say, look, you can go in and do your thing and you're out. But I had to make the decision that it was unsafe. It was very unsafe. So many aspects were against us with this location, which was sad because it was a place I really wanted to investigate. But anyways, what I decided to do was I brought in a sensitive with me, and I brought in my camera guy. I brought in a camera and some audio stuff just to document the walkthrough. And in this particular picture that you showed was taken down a hallway on level 2. There was 4 levels. This was taken on level 2. And I want to assure everyone there was nobody on this level at all. Nobody except for us.
So this place was completely empty except for you
empty,
and your team.
Yeah.
So we're pulling up the photograph right now, and viewers can actually see the photograph. It's showing right now. So it's showing a kind of darkened hallway with a few portions that are lighted up. Could you kind of run through, Steve, exactly what we're seeing here and describe as best you can what we're looking at?
So basically, look at an average hospital hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's essentially there's many rooms, and at the very end you have a set of double doors. And what you're seeing now is just it's a naturally lit photograph. There was no flash, nothing, just a naturally lit photograph. So basically, this photograph was taken about maybe 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. This was not. I always assumed this was like
not at night. No,
in the dead of night.
No,
but this was in the afternoon then. Okay.
In the afternoon, about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So that's the light. The light that any lighting you're seeing in this photo is natural.
Okay.
There's absolutely no lights, no flash, nothing.
Right.
It's not naturally lit. And when first going through the photos, I didn't really notice anything.
Uh-huh.
And then, I came back to this photo and I'm like, wow, okay, there's something unusual about this photo. And then, of course, I zeroed in to the left.
So I'm going to show it right here. I'm moving my kind of mouse around this thing
Yeah.
on the left here, so that viewers can see what's going on here. Because when you first look at this photograph, you don't really notice what's over here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and continue.
And okay, well, I noticed there was something there that wasn't there real time. I decided to go over the video footage that we had taken to see. And in the video footage, there was absolutely nothing. So I decided to run it through a few photo programs that I do professionally, and noticed that there was actually something there. So I handed it off to a friend of mine who's a professional photographer, and I said, "Look, man, take a look at this thing. Tell me what you see, what you notice with the photo and the file itself." And he basically pointed out that that exact point. There's something there, whatever it is, it's natural to the photo, to the file. There has nothing's been altered, obviously. So whatever was there was taken was actually there when I took the photo.
Right.
And once again, okay, so I went to any audio because I was taking audio at the same time, nothing. I took a look at the video again, and I said, look, there's got to be something there that would indicate what that is.
Yeah.
Nothing popped up. Nothing. Like when you watch the video, I could do a frame by frame and show you in the video there's absolutely nothing there.
So I've just kind of highlighted it on the screen so people can see the kind of what's something there. But we have another photograph. Now this one is like let me just close that one off. Then we'll bring this one over. Now this is a photograph that's been brightened. Now is this a negative or just a brightened up photograph?
I have to see it here. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Is the black and white one?
Yeah.
It's a negative, yeah.
Okay.
It's the negative of the photo. The exact same photo, it's just a negative.
Uh-huh. So
basically it shows you a little bit more the little bit more detail of what was captured.
Well, from now this photograph, I'm looking at this one right now, and this clearly shows to my eye that what looks like a woman standing to the left of the corridor.
Yeah.
You can see the hair, the eyes. You can see the face, the shape of the body. This is a very compelling photograph.
It also looks like she's holding something if you
It
look
does,
carefully.
yeah.
And that's what I get. I get that quite often. A lot of people saying, it looks like she's wearing or she's holding a lantern or some sort
something.
of candle or something like that.
Yeah. So Steve, what was your initial take when you first saw this photograph, knowing that you were the one? This is not like some guy sends you something via email or shows you, hey, check out this picture. This is something that you actually took yourself. What kind of emotion? What do you feel when you first look at this? Something that you took yourself.
Like anything that I capture or whatever experience, I'm very skeptical. I am, and I'm not gonna lie. Look, I have something here, but I want to make sure I completely scrutinize this before I even say, look, I have something.
Uh-huh.
And that's my process. That's my natural process. I scrutinize the hell out of whatever is in front of me, and I could not reasonably say that that's not something.
Right, right.
There's definitely something there, but what, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, it's a very compelling photograph. Alex, were you with Steve when he took this photograph?
Unfortunately not. I wish I was. But I mean, just to further what Steve was saying about scrutinizing, the fact that he went through the video frame by frame of the walkthrough as well around that area and didn't show up on the video is further proof that he really scrutinizes what he's taken there. Just to sort of, if not prove to others, prove to ourselves primarily, because that's what we're at least myself, when I go out and do some investigations, and I haven't done as many as Steve or Justin, but if I capture anything that's abnormal, it's more to prove to me than anybody else. Hence the reason why I don't have a website or a paranormal group myself that goes out and does this and sort of, for lack of a better term, publicizes it.
Right.
I didn't get involved in the paranormal for anybody else's entertainment. I got involved for it for myself. I wanted to prove to myself that this sort of stuff existed, more for my own peace of mind than anything else.
Well, entertainment.
That brings up a really good point, though. Is for you to go into this very skeptical and thinking that this might not be real. Have you come to any conclusions, Alex?
No, unfortunately, I haven't yet.
That's not what I want to hear.
No, I know. That's not what you want to hear. It doesn't make for good entertainment, but it's
well. At least you're being honest, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, you haven't.
It's a struggle.
You're still on the fence. You haven't fallen one side or the other.
No, and if for every time I come across some piece of evidence or what I guess could be deemed as evidence, the way my mind operates is it automatically goes back to okay, that's just your mind playing tricks on you kind of deal. You know what I mean? And I'm forever that sort of agnostic, no matter what happens.
Right. Yeah, but clarify, Alex, because I mean, you aren't an outright debunker. You will simply go, look at no, there's a reasonable explanation. There's always something that I know you've seen that sort of look, oh, okay. You're not a complete debunker.
I'm not a complete debunker, no. Yeah. Because if I was, I'd be debunking my own evidence that I've captured in the past. However, I tend to believe people I know and trust, obviously, like yourself, Steve, and like Justin and what have you. So if you guys were to present me with something like you did, Steve, with that picture initially, obviously I took your word for it because I know I know what kind of person you are, and I know that you scrutinize everything minutely. However, if someone that I'm not familiar with were to present me with a photograph of some kind of evidence, whether it be audio or visual, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, to start. But in the end, inevitably, it always comes back to the same thing where it's like, okay, there's got to be something there that they didn't catch that, could explain what it was. I mean, it's easy to catch an anomaly on audio and even on a still picture or even video, and automatically label it as paranormal if that's what you really want it to be, even though it could be something completely, legitimately like mundane.
Like, Gareth, Alex knows I can't stand the word evidence. I really can't.
Why? Why is that?
Because we clearly don't understand what we're dealing with still.
True.
And it really drives me nuts when somebody posts a video on whatever platform, a photo or some EVP, and say, look, I have clear evidence of the afterlife or a ghost or whatever else. It drives me nuts.
But you
can't prove it, but you can't prove it not. But still, please say a finding. I have this interesting finding.
But we have to kind of define. I mean, if someone presents you with evidence, findings. If someone presents you with that, and then you research, you do your due diligence, and you come to the conclusion that this is real, you could say that it then becomes evidence of something, but of what? Right?
Exactly.
Of,
Yeah.
In
of
whose
what?
eyes does it become evidence? That's what I'm saying. Like, and I know Alex is going to go, yes, finally. But I mean, this is not a regulated area,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Don't
But
get me started on that.
when we say evidence, we have to clearly define that there is no legitimate, if you will, structure in defining what evidence means when it comes to the paranormal.
Well, it's evidence of something unusual. It's evidence of something that shouldn't
Sure.
happen, but it does. Now,
Yeah.
what it's going to ultimately prove? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, right? I mean, this photograph right here, right? I'm looking at this. This is a great photograph. Now, is this evidence of something though? Is this evidence
True.
that ghosts exist? Is this evidence of proof of the afterlife? No.
Yes.
It's
No.
not. It's not.
No.
It's not. It's not.
proof.
It's not proof of ghosts. It's not proof
Yeah.
of afterlife. But it is proof that you picked up something very, very strange, something inexplicable, right? We
unusual
cannot
finding.
explain what that is. There's let me just pull it up again. There's a woman in this photograph, and it's clearly a woman that was not there when you took the photograph, right?
Mhm.
But
Yep.
what's going on here? What is it? What's the deal?
It could be. It could still be a
That's
few
the
things.
$1,000,000 question.
Go ahead, Justin.
I'd love to hear Justin. Yeah,
Just go ahead, Justin.
Right off the bat, although I see everything that you guys are pointing out right away, I will agree that's what I see, as well as I'll take this point here and reading the chats here. I'll agree with Sully Constable that it still is too grainy to tell what it is. It does look like a woman, but given the frame, the lighting. And that's really all I kind of look at, the frame and the lighting. You can technically take shadows and kind of interpret anything within those particular situations there in that photo. I mean,
Mhm.
pull it back up real quick.
All right.
And
Okay, there you go.
there you go. Yep. Thank you and we'll do our best to keep a lookout in the chat there. But I think that was a really good point because, and I agree with all of you, there's most definitely some sort of anomaly there, but we can't necessarily say it's a ghost. And given even that point of it being grainy makes it really hard to tell.
So,
You know?
Steve, did you take any control shots around? Did you take like 5 shots, change another 5 shots, and then compare that to what you actually got?
And that's what brought me to that photo.
Mm.
Right? There was nothing in any of the other photos except for that one.
Okay.
And Gareth, there is a multi-frame, so a multi aspect photo of it. It's blue and white,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it's a multi-spectrum
Image of it. Yeah,
image of it.
I don't have that one in front of me, but I'm just looking at it right now. And do you know what I've noticed? Is that this ghost or woman or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she's looking at you take the photo.
In a way, I was kind of getting that too, to be honest with you.
She's looking at you. She's looking right at you take the picture. Look, let me throw it up again. Look at that. She's looking at you. You see that?
Still waiting for it.
I mean, no, I did. It does look like that, right? Don't you think? I mean, Steve, you must have noticed that.
I noticed that something very eerie happened.
Oh. You got to tell us more. What happened?
Yeah, what else going on?
Well, with that place, I will tell you the name of the place because it's no longer no longer in existence.
They tore it down, right?
They tore it down. It's gone. It was called the Shidoki Hospital, and it sat on the mountain side, and because it was originally supposed to be for tuberculosis.
A lot of hospitals, yeah.
And people know about tuberculosis back in the White Plague, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They always built hospitals high up on top of mountains for better air circulation. And this sat pretty much close to the mountainside, if you will. But anyways, what I had seen, what I had witnessed walking through this particular area.
Whoa. You saw this thing walking?
No. I did not see this walking.
I see. You were walking through the place. Okay.
I went down to the very bottom level of this hospital. And the bottom area, which is sub level,
subterranean
level by about one floor, and that's where they took the autopsies of the bodies that had passed away. So people who had been living in the hospital or were in the hospital had passed away. They take them down there to do the autopsies to determine why they died.
Right.
And let me tell you, I have never, ever been totally freaked out in a location, ever.
What do you mean, like just like the feeling, the
atmosphere,
the vibe, the atmosphere,
the atmosphere. I've never been in a situation, and I quickly vacated that area, and I told everybody, like I had 2 people with me. I quickly vacated that area. I said, we have to get out of here now.
Now, you've been on multiple ghost hunts, multiple paranormal investigations.
Over 300.
Yeah,
over 300.
That's a lot. And this place stands out particularly as something that unnerved you.
On one of the very few, yes. One of the very few.
Let me ask Alex and Justin, who's also been out and about hunting spooks. Have you guys run into a situation where you've gone into an area and thought, I need to leave right now?
Yeah. 2 for me, Alex. I don't know about you.
Go for it, Justin.
I would go for it now. I'll give my explanation.
It was actually in Bartlett, Illinois. I was originally looking for a silo that was noted that supposedly some occult activity happens in. And the first time trying to find it, I couldn't find it. And it was during, I think, the fall. So one time that I went, we're leaving after trying to search for this area. And as I'm leaving, the moon's hanging in the background, light coming through the trees, and I see a silhouette of a building. And it just was like, oh my God, there it is. We finally found it. And I think that might have been the second time I was there or so. So I ended up coming back again with a group of people. And we get like halfway through the main trail trying to get to the wooded area the silos in. And we literally stopped. And we could hear light chanting going on from that area, which in this case is evidence that occult activity happens in the silo. So not only did I have a weird experience, I also had the experience that corroborated with what was going on at that silo. And most definitely, I've been part of things. Chanting like you would think occult chanting would be was happening in this farm area. It's in farmland. This is corn stalks. The area itself is somewhat upscale. So I mean, this is not just it could be goofy kids, but this is not just regular old goofy kids would be doing this. And we literally stopped. I had one of the main skeptics of the group with me, and he's like, I think we need to turn around. He says, I don't care if there's ghosts and demons and whatnot, but I really don't want to find out.
But you didn't
what's going on in that silo.
But you didn't see anything. This is just something you heard.
Yes.
Like
we heard the chanting
like
loud enough.
The opening credits of The Omen. Chanting in the.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, that would stop me in my tracks too. How about you, Alex?
My experience was obviously, and Steve knows this one, but the Whitby Psych. Not so much for the paranormal aspect, but this place had been known to be frequented by a lot of uncouth youth, if that's even a term. They would go there, they would drink, they would do drugs. We even came across a room once where we saw mattress and toothbrush and whatnot. So someone was actually squatting
Like
there.
living there, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's more what the fear stemmed from, is running into someone who may have had reason to chase us out, so to speak.
Right.
But even when we did go to this, because like we went to this psychiatric hospital multiple times, and
Yeah, but
when I brought,
but what about the ghost hunt?
yeah, that's what I mean.
That was
Yeah.
a joke.
We,
I'm sorry.
we're there to find we're there to find squatters. We weren't there to find ghosts.
Uh-huh.
But when we went there, and I brought a couple of people who were skeptical, and I think I related the story already. But we were in the one building, and it's a small building with 4 rooms connected by a hallway, and we entered in on one end. We looked around, started walking towards the opposite end, and we heard additional footsteps behind us.
Oh boy.
Even something like that wouldn't be something that would scare me, but it sure as hell scared the 2 people who were skeptical, and they wanted to get the hell out of there with it before we even got a chance to do any sort of investigating.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can see how that would be pretty nerve-wracking. I'm trying to think which one of you has the scariest story. I think it's a toss-up between Steve
Definitely Justin
and
or Steve,
Justin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Justin's, I think, is fairly unnerving when you hear the chant. Hey, Justin, did you ever go back there, like, in the day to see if there was any
Yes.
chanting,
Yeah.
like pentagrams
Yeah.
or stuff all over the place?
Yeah. I actually, if I can find, you know what? That would be a good thing. If I can find some of those old pictures, I could probably bring them on the show next time. Maybe we'll do another evidence episode.
Yeah.
And I ended up going back and taking pictures, and there was a book bag I remember being there. So kids have gone there, and there's some, writing and satanic stuff, but most definitely there's a burn pit in the middle of the silo, which, whoever's going there is obviously staying long enough to light a fire there.
Gareth, I just want to point out that Steve Willis actually brings out a good point. Pareidolia.
Oh, right.
Plays
Yeah.
a huge point in determining what could possibly be the culprit, and that's in many aspects. Obviously, that could be visual and audio. And trust me, that was one thing that came into mind. Pareidolia with
that image,
with the photograph that I took out. But, like I said, I went into the multi-spectrum realm and looked at the photograph, and rest assured, I simply did not see that at all. So
no, it's a great piece of finding. It's a good one. It's a great photograph.
But as Steve Willis
very impressive.
noted, I think the best way to describe it would be an anomaly, not really evidence.
I would agree.
Exactly.
It's something that shouldn't be there but is, and it's very compelling. Let's talk about some other compelling photographs that the rest of us on this show did not take, but still provides a very thought-provoking image. The next image I want to talk about is kind of famous because it plays into a movie that came out in 1979 and a book that came out in 1976, and that is, of course, the Amityville Horror.
Ooh.
Now, the Amityville Horror, I think most paranormal researchers, not all, but most, have dismissed it as a hoax. The George Lutz fiasco, they've dismissed it all as just a cash grab. Jay Anson wrote the novel became a movie. The movie became immensely successful and spawned a million sequels. But the first one is still the best. I'm sure you guys will agree. The first Amityville Horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie. The first one's pretty awesome. But was there any truth to it? Was this a real case? Or was it just a calculated cash grab to make some money and ride the back of supernatural fiction. Before we look at the photograph, let me throw that out to the rest of the people here on the show, the rest of the guys. What do you guys think? Is there any validity to the Amityville Horror? Or is it all just nonsense?
Cash grab.
Cash grab.
Nobody? Come on. Not one of you is going to say, that's real. It's a real thing, I swear. No?
You'd love to think. And you know what? Obviously, when you see the movie, you're like, wow, this is based on a true event. Oh, my God, this is awesome.
It's kind of scary.
And you get sucked into it, right, Justin? You get sucked into it.
It's great.
But when you look into it, I hate to I don't like bashing and I don't like really getting, but I'm not a big proponent of the Warrens. I simply believe that
the Warrens. Let's explain who the Warrens were to the uninitiated. Who were the Warrens, Steve? What's their deal?
Ed and Lorraine Warren were, paranormal investigators. They were one of the people that folks that investigated, that were lucky enough to investigate the Amityville house. After the claims had been put in there, and. Like many things when it comes to the paranormal here in the Western world, one of the major proponents that have a major play in this is Catholicism or Christianity, if you will. Religion, organized religion, plays a huge part in how people look at the paranormal. And even investigated, and the Warrens are no different. They were very, very religious. They had a huge religious background. And
the Warrens, Warrens are were super religious, right? They were all hardcore into like Catholics and Jesus and demons and you name it.
And I'll be a strong proponent of this. I have been for a long time, and I believe that is one of the problems, one of the stigmatisms when it comes to investigating the paranormal. One of the roadblocks, one of the filters that we all run into with the paranormal. And look at, when you are investigating the paranormal, you really need to think outside that box. Right. If you don't think outside that box, you're going to stay within that box. And religion, organized religion, is one of those boxes that many of those out there are contained in and can't seem to get out of.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's because religion, it adds to your worldview. How you. It's a filter through which you see how reality functions, and be it accurate or not, that's how you perceive it. The Amityville case it's a case that I've always found fascinating, mainly because as a kid I saw the movie and loved it. Yep. And as a teenager I read the book and loved it. I've always wanted it to be true, but I've heard so many stories that it was all BS. So I started digging into it and looking at other interviews, and I'm on the fence. Sorry, guys.
Don't tell me you got sucked into the sun.
No. Oh, God, no, I did not. I did not. No, I did experience the sun, and I have watched. He made a great there's a movie called My Amityville Horror.
Yes,
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, I have.
And it's a fun movie.
That's what I'm saying. You get sucked into the sun.
And I did enjoy it, and I did not get the BS vibe from him, but I did get the I'm mental vibe from him.
Well,
I don't think he was lying, but I do think he was deeply disturbed.
And a lot of people don't know.
Go ahead,
there's
Justin.
a lot of trauma along with what was going on under the whole Amityville horror situation. And when you follow that, a lot of the kids themselves and the whole family was experiencing a lot of, family issues. So when you add that, maybe with some history of what was going on at that house, and I believe the Indian stuff was false.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's fair. I think the Indian stuff.
Yeah.
I think we can all safely say that the Indian stuff was 100% BS.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But the other stuff I'm not too sure about. Now, don't get me wrong. There are massive components of this case which are made up and which are nonsense. But I also think there are certain aspects which are truthful. And that brings us to this photograph I'm about to show. What the hell? I know people are watching saying, "Shut up already! Show the damn photo!" So so here we go. This is the photograph. This is the world famous photograph from the Amityville horror that cannot be explained. This photograph was taken remotely. They had a remote camera set up on one of the landings on the stairs that would take photographs, every few minutes. There was no children in the house. Everyone that was in the house was on the ground floor. The upstairs and the attic were completely empty. There was nobody else in the house. And this is a truly anomalous photograph. Would anyone care to comment?
Well,
That is blowing my mind.
One of the camera crew, or one of the crew that was there, came forward, I think, a few years later and said that was in fact him that they had photographed.
That's not. I don't. It looks like a little kid, man. I mean, it does not look
like a kid.
It doesn't
Who knows?
look like a cameraman. It looks like a little kid.
No. I get that,
Yeah.
and you got to remember, when I'm talking about cameraman, I'm not talking about a fully geared cameraman. I'm talking about a guy who was a part of a paranormal investigative group.
Let's look at it again. Okay, so let me just delve into this here. So this camera's on a time lapse. It's taking pictures every few minutes. So you say you have 30 pictures where it's just an empty landing, right? Nothing there. And out of those 30 pictures, one photograph has this. Now, this photograph, when you first look at it, it looks like a child with glowing eyes.
Yeah.
Peering out from an open doorway.
Demonic.
Yeah. Glowing, freaky, scary eyes, like looking out, staring at you, right? Looking at the camera.
So here's a question for you guys.
All right, go ahead. What's the question?
So you're taking the words of the people who are saying that there was nobody there and this was done remotely.
Yes.
That's the problem.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
wait. Let me hold on. It's so the remotely part, 100% true. Was there anyone on the other floors? We don't know. We have to take their word for that, right?
Gareth.
So but the remote part, that's for real. Now, was there anyone else hidden around, looking through doorways? Who knows? Go ahead, Steve.
Gareth, let's point out, because Luke in chat there was pointing out that the DeFeo murders, and yes, that is completely real. Yes. And that is the one aspect of this whole scenario that I completely buy into. I completely believe everything about the DeFeo murders. Of course, there are certain details that obviously that don't make sense and that were made up. But I mean, the fact that the DeFeos were murdered. I mean, hey,
it's real. That's not made
real.
up. 100%. That's
Exactly.
That's legit.
And I think that in itself would cause somebody to try to capitalize on it.
I don't know,
I
man.
really do.
Because
I really do.
have you seen some of the interviews with the newspaper reporters that went to stay for the night or a couple of nights? Especially I can't think of her name off the top of my head.
But we're talking about reporters. They're me. Look, I had a reporter cover an investigation of mine.
Fake news.
Yeah, I had a reporter cover an investigation of mine, and you want to talk about? Oh my God, are you kidding me? Centralized. There's no point. I don't even want to go.
No,
there.
I hear you, Steve. But I've looked at it, and I've looked at some of the reporters. I've looked at George Lutz's interviews. I've looked at the kid. I've looked at it all, and admittedly, there are huge chunks of this story which do not add up and clearly point to the work of fiction.
Yeah.
But
we got to remember it's a movie, right? I mean, it's
for sure.
a movie.
Yeah.
Based upon a book. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, it's based upon
Absolutely.
a book. But if people are looking at the movie, they got to remember the movie is a movie.
Yeah.
It's
no question.
It's there for your entertainment.
Sure. No question. You from what you just said, dude, you get no arguments from me. You're absolutely correct. But there does seem from my perspective, what do I know? I'm just some dude. That certain elements are not true, but certain elements I'm kind of like, I don't know. But if we look at this photograph, this open quotes anomalous close quotes photograph, I have a story about this photograph.
You're the kid in the photograph.
I was wearing these glasses. No, because if you look at
your eyes were
if you look at the photograph, it's either a kid with glowing eyes or it's a kid wearing glasses, and the reflection of the flash is going off in the glasses. And the closer you look at it, the more you can see that it is in fact somebody or a child, or maybe the cameraman or somebody. The eyes are not glowing. They're wearing glasses, and if you look at the photograph right now, you can see they're wearing glasses. What do you guys think about that? You think you must have seen that before?
Was he wearing glasses?
Yeah, I think he's wearing glasses.
It's quite possible.
Yeah,
I think it's highly likely that he's wearing glasses.
And that's what I mean. Like this whole, glowing red eyes. Come on.
I like the way glowing red. I like the way you say that.
Well, I mean, it's the first thing that I was asked when another story that we discussed, Gareth, about the event that I had witnessing something unusual, cryptoid wise, and the first thing people ask were the eyes glowing red?
Yes, right.
And it's like no. I mean I understand eyes glow red when certain light hits them, right. But come on, I
hear you, but let me tell you my story in regard to this photograph right here. So on my website is mindsetcentral.com, and I've had that domain and the website since about 1999. So I've owned that domain for a considerable amount of time.
It's a long time.
It is a long time.
It's over now. What the hell?
And in the early days of mindsetcentral.com, it wasn't a podcast site because podcasts didn't exist back then. But I used to post photographs and articles and stories and stuff that I would write. And it was like a kind of paranormal supernatural blog where I would write these articles and post them. And I saw a documentary on television about the Amityville Horror, and this must have been late '90s, early 2000s. This documentary was on like A&E or something, and I recorded it on VHS. And in this documentary, which some of the interviews that I've referred to with the reporters and so on, they actually showed this photograph for the first time And up until that documentary in the late 90s that I recorded, I'd never seen this photograph before.
Mm-hmm.
And for me at that time, it was staggering. So in the early days I've always been a very techie computer guy. So I had a video capture card on my PC at the time, and I hooked up my VHS recorder, and I took a screen grab of the image, and I made a JPEG of the image, and I thought, this is such a great photograph. I'm going to write an article about it and publish it on mindsetcentral.com. So I did. And I put this photograph and my words, busily typing away, and I published it, and I patted myself on the back saying, what a wonderful job. You have spread the truth of the paranormal throughout the world. And about 2 months after I posted the image, I got an email from someone. Can you guess who I got the email from, gentlemen?
The Warrens.
No, I'll tell you, even better.
The kid in the picture.
No, even better. I got an email from Mr. George Lutz himself,
Oh, wow.
and he emailed me. And when I saw the email at George Lutz at AOL.com or whatever it was, I don't remember, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, the guy himself from George Lutz is emailing me. You know, it was amazing. And I double-clicked it, and I opened it up, and I read it, and I thought, this is going to be... It was a legal threatening letter from his lawyer saying, please, this is copyright of George Lutz. Remove this photograph from the internet immediately, or we will take you to court and sue you and blah, 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 and all this stuff. So, I was a young man at the time.
Yeah.
And, in the cartoons, they go... I did that, and I immediately removed the photograph from the internet, but posted the email, the threatening email. I posted that on there, and I took it down. I was nervous, looking back on it. I should have said, F you, I'm keeping it up. So what? But and that's my story. My correspondence with George Lutz. What do you guys think? You want to give me a round of applause for that? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. Thank you. Very good.
You're famous.
I'm famous for this photograph. The guy with the glasses or the glowing eyes. But I still find this a very compelling photograph, real or not. It's a great photograph. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, it is compelling. I mean, it's creepy as hell, and I don't blame anyone who would look at this photo and not want to believe that this is true.
Yeah, I kind of wish it was true though, but I don't know. I'm very much on the fence with the Amityville. I love the movie so much, and I love the book. I should recommend people, if you've not read the book by Jay Anson. I strongly recommend, even if it is all nonsense, even if it is just some goofy, scary, it's a great book. I remember reading the book, The Amityville Horror, in bed one night, and it freaked me out so bad I was scared to get up and turn out the light. That's how messed up it was.
The movie scared me when I was a kid.
Oh, who wouldn't scare? I mean that scene with the cat outside.
The glowing eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's one of those scenes that just sticks with me since I was a kid. I remember, I think I might have fallen asleep one time watching it, and I woke up to that, and it just
it's freaky.
It shook me. It just was like,
shutting it off, Bill.
It is.
Yeah, it's a creepy scene. It's a good scene.
It's a freaky. I think. What's his name? I can't. Stutley Constable. Stutley Constable says he enjoyed our golf clap. So thank you, Stutley. Thank you. Let's do it again. There we go. Very good. Yes, very nice. Okay, let's talk about some other ghost photographs. The next one we have, this photograph was provided to us by Mr. Justin Villarreal.
Oh, yes.
And this is, let me just pull it up here. Give me 1 second. This is the, God, it's so confusing doing so many things. I'm juggling here.
Of course.
This is the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming this is kind of a Chicago thing. Am I right, Justin?
Yes, this would be a
This is
local
Chicago.
story. One of the famous haunts here in Chicago, actually.
Right, because Justin is a native of Chicago, Illinois.
Yep.
Home of the Blues Brothers.
I know them personally. They're still alive.
You know, Elwood and Juliet Jake.
Joliet. I was just actually in Joliet just this weekend.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right, let's
do it a little AC call.
So, Justin, before I pull up the picture and reveal it to our viewers, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, in case you don't know about Bachelor's Grove, this is an old cemetery that was originally set up for the German immigrants that were working at the canal at that time. I believe an accident happened, and the majority of the workers ended up having this particular plot of land set aside for them. Over the years, though, there are a lot of stories compiled, and when you add the 1920s of the mafia and gangsters and whatnot, it doubled down with supposedly stories of cars in the pond there, and seeing weird figures in the night, as well as a disappearing house that's off in the distance into the woods.
Wait. A disappearing house?
Yes, a disappearing house. It's one of its staples.
Wait. Studley Constable says he hates Illinois Nancy's. He's going to drive him off the bridge next, right? He's going to drive over and knock him over the bridge. Yeah.
Strubenferner!
Anyway.
Could be a bunch of Nancy's.
All right. Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. They had a lot of local history from just German immigrants to the Italian mob here. But a lot of stories came about of the disappearing house, which there is a bit of a foundation left back in the woods. You have to look for it. I've never seen it, but I've been at the cemetery myself numerous times, and I'll actually be posting a updated pictures and video soon at my LCGH Twitter account. But yeah, this particular picture was taken by the Ghost Research Society, which is based here in Illinois, and it was taken in the early 90s by a Judy Huffeltz, and they were particularly in the area, and for some reason she's considered herself a medium, an intuitive of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So take that with a grain of salt. Pointed the camera and got this particular picture of the Madonna. Which is, from the lore, a woman who had a child, I believe, a miscarriage maybe,
okay.
And she was cursed to walk the cemetery. There's a possibility that her body was thrown there by a ex-lover that's kind of mixed with the mafia as well. But that's more or less the story, was that a woman, she was thrown into the woods in the area or in the lagoon, and this is a picture of her.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's pull up the picture that Justin is referring to. Now,
yes.
At first glance, when you look at this photograph, it just looks like a lady or a young girl sitting on a box in a forest somewhere. So what's the context here?
They literally just pointed and took, she got a feeling and took this picture, and they're assuming, I mean, of course, we don't even know, if the Madonna story is true, but they're assuming this would be the Madonna that's been famous, the White Lady, as they call it. And it's just that, and this was famous all over the world. If you've seen this picture, this is where it came from, Bachelor's Grove. I've seen it on other blogs and stuff saying it was something else.
So Justin, the thing that she's sitting on there, does that exist in reality, or is that part of the spiritual?
That would
thing?
be one of the headstones. There are many of the headstones.
That's really there. So
yes,
so if you were to go back to that cemetery and try and find the exact location where that was taken, you could line up your camera and get it in the right spot and focus it, and you get the tombstone that she's sitting. Obviously, you wouldn't get her, but you could kind of recreate the picture without the figure being there. Would that be correct?
Correct. Yes. I would say, though, that the majority of headstones are now to ruin since this picture is taken, but most definitely we could find a reference and redo this picture. And like I said, I'll have some updated pictures and a small video, I think, of the cemetery when I get it uploaded to LCGH Twitter.
Right.
But yeah, reason why I brought this up was because this is one of the famous pictures that draw me to the paranormal field just overall. I mean, I've been reading books. Mm-hmm. This was actually in the Chicago Tribune.
So this made the newspaper then? This was
correct.
Okay.
Yes, this is one of the famous. And if we can all, be honest, this is probably one of the only pictures we ever seen that's been this clear, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is. But that's part of it, though, man. Is like even. Yes. Don't get me wrong. This is a great picture. I'm not. Don't get me wrong.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, though. Go ahead.
This is a great picture. But it could just be a picture of a girl sitting on a tombstone, right?
Yes.
There's nothing supernatural about it. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. When you look at even the way pictures are just overall made, even during that early 90s, you could have overlaid this. Now, we're just taking their particular outing as validity. And during that time we didn't have what we have now in the paranormal field. So when you had someone who says I was at Bachelor's Grove and I do ghost research to the news, they're going to eat it all up.
Mm-hmm.
And they only show this particular image itself. You don't get too many variations of it. Right. And this is pretty much it. And I think there's the few variations that I do see, it's a little bit less full, like it's more transparent. But yeah, this is pretty much it. And the reason why I bring it up is because me, young Justin, early 90s, looking at this is like, wow, Ghost Research Society, Dale Casimir, stuff like that. So which I talked to Dale I know him personally.
So this photograph kind of
initiated
lit the spark to kind of get you into this. What do you guys think, Steve and Alex? I mean, I'm sure you've seen this picture multiple times. Do you have any comments or a take on it?
I think it's Justin's girlfriend.
From the future. Well, I was a player and I was 10 years old then.
It's a fascinating photo. I mean, it's incredible, and I would love to see again. Any other photos that were taken at the same time as this one, but how can you dispute it?
Yeah. Alex, you have any comments?
I just think it's a person sitting on a tombstone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it legitimately does look like that, right?
Yeah, and
I mean, it really does.
The reason why I bring it up.
Yeah.
It's because when you look at it then, me or anybody, even during that time period, you can get engulfed in it. And if you do your research about some of the people involved, there are other things that come about. And now looking at this already, I'm like, I've been through what we've already been almost 2 decades involved in this, just about. So we're looking at this. You have enough experience. You're like, you never seen anything like this before. So it's a total possibility that it's a hoax. Sad to say. Of course, Dale spoke on this himself. He's gonna say it's real is real, and that's all we can take it.
You
but
have to
looking at it,
you have to kind of. Whether or not you believe the person that took the photograph. Now, you say you know the guy, you've met him.
Yes, yeah.
And that's the make or break, right? If you know this guy and you trust him and you believe when he says, "Yeah, you know what? I took the picture. There was nobody there." When he says that, if you believe that, then that adds to the validity of the photograph, right?
Of course, of course.
Gareth, you always, no matter what, you have to assume,
of course,
a photograph is phony until you can prove otherwise.
Right. I agree.
And I don't want to say, I've had plenty of people that I know that have approached me with a photograph, and I've been able to, I don't want to say debunk, but tell them, explain it to them. Because, a lot of people don't want to hear an explanation that says, guys.
No.
They don't want to hear that. They want to hear that. Oh yeah, you have captured a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all I want to hear that. We all want to hear that.
Yeah.
Well,
You
this
know?
here is built the paranormal field from the base. I mean, many earlier stories. I mean, if we take this and say it's a hoax, it just breaks it all down when you
Yeah.
think about it. You know, especially the Ghost Research Society. I'm sure, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but that was a pretty big, thing back in the day, along with the
Mhm.
American Ghost Society.
Sure.
So yeah, take it in there. Although I leave it open. Not saying me and Dale are friends and we go out and have coffee and everything, but that plays into it a little bit. But most definitely, I'm still a little more skeptical even after being aware of this particular thing.
Well, evil Earl in the chat room, who was here last time when we did our Bigfoot, we discussed Bigfoot. He said it's a dude in a suit.
I had to reply and say it was Justin in the suit.
Justin in the suit. It's a dude. I mean, who knows, right? But it's a great photograph. But
Yes.
to echo Alex's thoughts here, it's just a photograph of a girl sitting on a tombstone, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it looks like. There's no
And
way.
we have
But
no
the-
other evidence.
There's no way to tell either way, you know.
We have to though understand that. Look it, the mystery is who is that girl and why is she sitting on that tombstone?
Maybe
Who
it's a
is?
vibrating
Whoa,
tombstone.
hey,
Oh,
She's reflecting on her
hey,
relationship.
Take it easy
Yeah.
over there, Alex. Calm down. What are you drinking over there? Stop that. Okay, let's take a look at our next photograph. Our next photograph is also one of Justin's. This is the Jane Addams Hill House.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about this one, Justin?
Yeah, another one from my early days and a pretty popular story. The Hull House, actually, I think it was founded the late 1800s. I could just pull some. The late 1800s. And it was really made just to help immigrants that were coming into Chicago and the United States overall. But, of course, many buildings they've had. It was a pretty big institution, if you want to call it that. And eventually you're going to hear stories of, someone dying, or particularly this particular picture, which was taken at one of the stairwells of the main houses. And this is, as far as I know, this is one of the only pics ever really taken there that has shown this, and this is really what sparked it. And again, this is one of the reasons why I bring it on, because, early me looking at this stuff.
Early me.
It's like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. That's got to be a ghost. Now looking at it, I do question it. And I think I sent you the other picture that shows what the picture looks like without it being black and white. So if we could show the one picture first, and then after.
I don't have the other one though. I only have one picture.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's
But this photograph though, Justin, I'm looking at it, and it doesn't do a lot for me, to be honest with you.
I'm not trying to get you off here.
No,
Jared.
I'm being serious. It's like
exactly.
I don't know what to say. So let me show the viewers this photograph, and they can
famous
kind of
picture.
what do you guys think of that? Like some stairs with some shadows on it. Explain it, Justin. Explain what's going on here.
Yeah, it's really almost mist-like. There's a silhouette. It looks like maybe someone coming down the stairs, but that's very vague, and that's really what people allude to in this picture. That it looks like someone coming down the stairs, and that's what kind of sticks it out a little bit. There you go. Very faint. It could even be the type of exposure where the previous picture could have picked up something as well. But that's really what made this place famous and carried all the wonderful ghost tours that it gets to now.
Oh, they have ghost tours?
Particular picture. Yes. This
I
is part of the
love
ghost tours.
ghost tours. You know what? There's a ghost tour in San Diego for the Winchester House that I've always wanted to go on. But every time I go in there and I try to convince my wife, she always gives me that look like I'm out of my mind.
Looks like it'll be a fun time.
It does. It's like I don't know, $30 to go on this tour.
That's not that bad, actually.
But but this photograph, Justin, I'm sorry, man, it ain't cutting it.
Well, the picture that I sent to you that would show what it looks like, what I wanted to point out to is that we see in that particular picture a little bit of like a haziness and a silhouette of that. But
Yeah.
what people don't see when you see a full colored picture, there's tons of reflective surfaces within this hallway.
So
There's
yeah,
tons
it
of
could be a
lights.
reflection of some kind.
Yes.
Well, it kind
Uh,
of looks like it's a picture taken through like a plexiglass or something.
Yeah, you're right. It does look that way. Yeah.
I forget what year I think I want to say this picture was taken in maybe the 70s. I can't actually remember.
What do the people in the chat room? What do you think? Do you think this is legit?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
think this is a legit photograph, or you think it's some trick of light and shadow, as NASA always says from its crazy photographs?
And you can see where the light in that black and white is, where it's bouncing out of, So earlier
Studley,
years, yeah,
Studley Constable says that could be a problem with the emulsion or the processing.
of course.
I agree, and again, I think it was a photo taken from the other side of glass, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think you're getting reflection, some sort of
Yes.
reflection, if you will.
That's what I'm guessing as well. Especially if you look at pictures that show what it looks like lighting up, it's tons of reflection in this area. It could be anything. And I've noticed that a lot of orbs and even some ideas of mists are really reflection,
Yeah.
off of whatever surface that might be in the area. You don't even know. I've seen pictures where if you focus enough, your eyes, and you see certain pinpoints of light, you will see exactly how it bounces off and like almost
Yeah.
reflects that across the other side of the picture.
So in the chat room, Luke Griffin says it's a trick of light.
There we go.
Trick of light.
Damn.
Yeah. And I kind of agree. But then again, you know what? We could be wrong. Maybe this is
We don't know.
Maybe this is a
We don't know.
genuine
Yeah.
image of the supernatural. We don't know. Okay, let's move on to our next photograph that we're going to discuss. Let's see, and now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into some solid, for real evidence.
Oh, I can't wait.
We've been skirting around and playing the game for the last hour, and now we are really going to be delving into the true wonders of the supernatural. Let me just pull this up
Wait.
over here.
Get into the good stuff.
We're getting into the good stuff.
Saving the best for last.
We're saving the best for last. Now, this next photograph, which I'm going to show, is a personal favorite of mine. This is a photograph that I saw when I must have been about 8 or 9 years old in a book. Are you getting sleepy, Steve? Come on, calm down. And this was a tremendous. This is a photograph taken in 1963 by the Reverend Kenneth F. Lord, and the name of this photograph is called "The Spectre of Newbury Church," and I'm sure you've all seen it. Well, there you go. What do you guys think? This was very unnerving to me when I first saw this, I have to say. Very, very unnerving. Do you guys recognize this photograph from way back when in the annals of paranormal history?
Oh yeah, I do
I've
remember
seen this, and I could.
Yeah.
You're gonna say it's
I
fake,
remember.
right? Who's right? Or okay,
I
okay.
won't say it's
Who's
fake.
gonna say it's
I'm
fake?
gonna say
Out of
it's
the
fake.
who's got
Fake.
I'll raise my hand because now we got visuals.
All right, here we go. Okay, all right, Justin, you're up. What do you think of the specter of Newbury Church?
Oh, right away. That's when was this taken?
1963.
To me, that looks like it's photoshopped. Like that's just the way
Well,
it looks.
well,
Like it's an overlay.
Well, here's the
Like
deal.
an overlay.
Regardless of what you think,
Yes.
100%, this was not photoshopped.
Yeah,
100%, This is
Well,
not.
at least that Photoshop.
This is not. This is not
our
Photoshop.
technology.
Evil
like-
Earl pointed it out.
Yeah, Evil Earl,
Double
yeah, exactly.
exposure.
Double
What's
exposure.
that? The
Double-
evil Earl says double exposure.
That was what I was about to mention.
I would
But
agree.
evil Earl, he says double exposure, but he throws in a maybe. So you gotta
I
think about
agree.
that.
No, I would say double exposure or leakage from another photo.
Yeah.
So
And it's a common occurrence.
well,
And you know what's funny? That happens with digital too.
no,
if people don't know.
no, don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes photos.
Oh man,
for some reason,
Steve,
together.
Steve Willis. Steve Willis says famous hoaxed photo.
Wow.
So I would agree with Steve's sentiment completely, except for the middle part that says hoaxed. This photograph is it's spectacular, because this photograph, the reverend, and he's a reverend, mind you, he's a man of the cloth. He's a clergyman.
We know a few of those.
The story is, let me tell you the story. The story is that he'd recently set up the altar in his church, right? And he'd put the fresh flowers, and he made it all look nice. And he thought, oh, that looks jolly splendid. I think I'll take a photograph with my brand new fangled photographic machine. And he picked up his camera, and he took the picture of the altar that he just, spent a few hours making it all look all nice. And then he takes the film to be developed, and the film gets developed, and what the F? This is the photograph.
With the Jason Voorhees mom cloth mask.
I'm getting the skeptical vibe from you, Justin.
Yeah,
And
right off the.
to be honest with you, I
The
don't.
true Justin
I don't
comes
like
out
it.
of the woodwork.
I expect the skeptical vibe from Alex.
Yeah,
Yes.
Alex is quiet now. What does Alex got to say?
Come on, Alex.
I've already said my piece.
All right, look
It's
at the.
fake.
What do you think? Tell us exactly your. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this photograph before. What are your
I
thoughts?
have, yes. It's fake.
Okay, all right. Let's move on. No, seriously, that's all you're gonna say?
No, I believe it's a double exposure.
Okay.
It's something like that. Yeah.
All right, Steve.
I have to say double exposure, leakage from another photo.
Justin.
I'm gonna go with that.
Double exposure.
Yeah. You don't see too many of that too often.
Yeah. You guys suck.
It's 3-1, Gary.
Now look at.
Hey, no, that's
look at
because of
this
my Jane
photo,
Addams
man.
Hall house. I'm getting back at you guys.
Look at this. Stutley Custable says, note that the altar is off center, so that the ghost is included. See, that proves that it's real.
Yeah, if you notice, his elbow is leaning on the ledge.
Wait.
there.
Why is everyone changing their background here? What's going on here? We got nocturnal frequency anomaly radio. What the hell is
We're
going on
representing
here?
right now.
We're showing the leakage into the
There
photo.
you go.
here.
You're bleeding in. Well,
How easy it's done.
well, I love this photo. I don't care what you say. Okay, let's move on to the next one then.
It's a good creepy photo, that's for sure.
It is a creepy photo, but it's a great one. I really enjoy that photo. The next one, is something that it's going to be a little harder for you guys to laugh at and debunk. Hopefully. This photograph is called The Brown Lady.
Yeah, classic.
It's a classic photograph. It was taken in Raynham Hall in Norfolk in England in 1936. And this was also a photograph that I saw when I was a child and really got the sparks sparking in my head in regard to paranormal phenomena and the photographing of ghosts. For viewers, if you're not familiar, here it is. Let me pull it up real quick so you can take a look at it.
I'm glad we got a little diversity in ghost stories tonight, from the
Yeah.
white lady to the
The
brown
white
lady.
the brown lady. Yeah, we're all over the place. Our next photo, by the way, is the Asian lady.
Lazy.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Freudian slip? No.
So,
Freudian slip.
so this is a great photo. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this.
Oh, yeah.
You must have seen it
Oh,
many,
yeah.
many times.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts? Anyone?
Again, I would have to go with double exposure, light leakage, leakage from another photo. I would love to believe that this is real, but I have a hard time with an older photo.
Okay. Well, that's the thing though. This is 1936. You know, there's no Photoshop or tweakage or fooling around with it. The only thing they have available is maybe a double exposure, right?
Yeah.
But-
they would
but-
overlay it.
And when
Yeah.
when they do a double exposure, you're rolling the dice. You know, there's no way, there's no guarantees it's going to come out really good, and this is a great photo.
The question is when did people start realizing that double exposures even existed?
I think probably from the beginning of photography. You know, I think they just stumbled upon it. You know, and thought, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
This is another photo that's world famous. Everyone who is into the paranormal is aware of this photograph. And once again, we have to go back. This is, I mean, like I said, this photo is considered by many to be absolute photographic proof of the existence of ghosts.
Yeah, I've seen this in just like some of the Bachelor's Grill one. I've seen this probably in the ghost videos that you find on YouTube.
Sure,
They'll
yeah.
have this and a few other ones. Yeah.
Justin, do you believe this is absolute evidence of ghost photography?
No. Just like you, Steve. Anything from that long ago is very questionable to me.
See, I
mean, you
think the reverse
you
is
have
true.
to remember the parlor tricks that they were performing at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Man,
I agree.
I think the reverse is true. I think that if you're going to look for real evidence, you can't look at it in today's modern photographs because of the prevalence of digital photography and Photoshop. You have to look back in the day when people didn't even know what the hell they were doing with photographs. Would you agree?
Well, bringing that up with the fairies that were the fairies that were photographed. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at
The
lot of people
Cotting
believe
Cotting
that.
Hill
Yeah.
fairies.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people bought into that, and they were great photographs. I don't have them here to show everyone, but all you got to do is go to YouTube, go to Google, and type in the Cotting Hill fairies, and you'll see the photographs. Those photographs were so impressive that Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, and who was a massive ghost or spiritualist believer back in the day, he thought that these photographs and that fairies really existed. And when you look at these photographs, even though they absolutely are fake, they look very, very real. Would you not agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they look great.
Well, that's the whole thing about them. They were convincing enough that for years people believed and bought into it until it took one of them. I believe it took one of them to come out of the woodwork to say, "Look, no, they were faked."
I want to thank Luke Griffin, who says the older photographs, the older pictures, are more likely to be real paranormal phenomena than today's pictures. You see,
I don't
we do have viewers who know what's up.
No.
No? You disagree?
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Agree
think
with that either.
it's more limited in what you can do.
You might also say that the older parlor tricks were more likely to be real paranormal than the newer ones.
The seances and everything. Yeah.
The seances. Have any of you ever taken part in a real seance?
Yes.
No,
yes.
and I'm
Several
no.
times.
Wait.
Well,
Wait. Who said yes?
Yes,
if you
several
meant
times.
table wrappings and whatnot, table.
Is that you, Justin? Yes?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, I've. Yeah.
Tell me about that, please. I'm fascinated.
Well, the easiest is just basically candles and having a medium pretty much say what we're supposedly finding or listening to or anything like that. And we set it up. We went into a light meditation, lit up candles, and then she went into her trance. Supposedly, where we didn't have anyone come through, but she was talking about the visions that she was seeing. And that was pretty much it. And then she did a house clearing after that, and that was pretty much my seance.
So what was your vibe? Legit or not?
Did say that again, Gareth?
Did you think it was real?
No, no, no.
Okay,
no.
all right. Now who else was it? Was it? It was Alex. Did you do one also?
No, I did not.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Pretty much
Same
how. Yeah, same thing. Justin pretty much pegged it.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right, so we've shown a lot of photographs, which everyone on the show and in the chat room have said it's a bunch of nonsense and double exposures and spirit photography, hokey nonsense. I want you to wipe all those thoughts out of your head because the next photograph I'm going to show.
Oh, I can't wait.
The next photograph on Mindset Live, ghostly evidence this evening, from my perspective, is legit. And this is called the backseat ghost. Now, when you see this, if you're into the paranormal, you have seen this photograph before. Let me flip it over so you can take a look. There it is. Look at that. Look at that photo. Now, this was another photo that I saw as a child and kind of freaked me out a little bit because of the glowing eyes, which we'll talk about in a moment. But what do you guys think? Looking at this photograph, this world-famous photograph taken in March 1959 in England. This no, I gotta tell what Evil Earl said. This one is 100% legit, and I agree completely. Let me give you a little backstory here. So this gentleman's mother-in-law died about a month before this photograph was taken, and he was a taxi driver, and he just got a new taxi, and he pulled up, and his wife took a picture of him in his new taxi. And when they developed the photograph, his mother-in-law was in the back seat. Gentlemen, do you have any thoughts in regard to this staggeringly authentic photograph?
Did you see the comment from Stutley Constable?
I did. He says, ghostly glasses reflecting light. And I was going to bring that up because I initially thought they were glowing eyes, but when you look closely, no.
They're glasses.
They're glasses. They're eyeglasses.
Yeah.
100% they're glasses. But it still doesn't change the fact that when this photograph was taken, the only person in that car was the driver.
Supposedly.
Justin, do you believe?
No.
Wait, you believe in ghosts or not, Justin? I'm gonna hang up on you right now.
I know that's supposed to be my line.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to be the one that's.
I'm gonna get my reconditioning later.
This week on Happy Days, the role of Alex will be played by Justin.
Exactly. Stop stealing my thunder.
Hey.
Sorry.
So this photograph, I'm gonna pull it up again. This photograph is spectacular from my point of view. Now you guys must have seen this picture before. What are your What are your thoughts?
Nothing is 100% legit.
You don't believe it, Steve?
I'm not saying I don't believe it, but at the same time, I think there's more of a story that plays out here that we don't know. And I just really have a hard time with older photos because, again, there are so many things that can happen with, film.
Yeah.
Light leakage, everything from light leakage to photo leakage. to lens flare. There are just so many aspects that you have to put into consideration here before you can say, look at, yeah, this is something legit. Nothing is ever 100% legit.
Okay, fair enough. Justin, you were going to say something?
I think to some of the guys in the chat there, and I appreciate all their input. Yeah, I would say to an extent, older photography, there's probably less room for a certain type of error that we have digitally now that we have. So, I mean, looking at this, there's more credence to it that if it is fake, it's a really good fake, but there's totally a possibility there's something else there, or we don't know. Maybe there was someone sitting in the back because, like was mentioned earlier, there's lens flare, and then if you look at the person, they're in the shadow along with the shadow of the back seat of the car. So it kind of lines up with that, which makes it seem like if it was, they were physically there for a brief second. If it was, they were physically there for a brief second.
Let me pull the photograph up again. So if we look at this photograph, the guy's pulling up in his new car, in his new taxi, he's all smiling, and in the back seat is his mother-in-law wearing glasses, as she did in life, allegedly. But there's something, you can't really see it in this photograph. Now, if you Google this image, there's some much clearer, higher resolution photographs of this this image that you can find on Google. But what I'd like to do is just show you right, if I can move my mouse over here, this section right here. And if you look at the mother-in-law's in the back, and she's wearing some kind of scarf or something around her neck. And you can kind of make it out in this photograph, but if you get the clearer, higher res picture, which is available on Google, you'll notice that her scarf right here, it kind of overlaps the door. You see the door?
I don't know. I don't think. Really don't buy into that.
The edge of the door of the car, this part right here, you can't really see it too well in this photograph, but if you look for the high res, you'll see it. This little part right here overlaps the door just a little bit, as if she was placed into the photograph afterwards.
Which is possible.
How do
if she
we
was
know
placed?
this is simply not just somebody who's moved forward, somebody's taken a photo, and they move forward from the back seat. We don't even see too much detail from the back seat, from the back window. There's just so many aspects that just I highly doubt that this is a ghost, if you will. Period. I really do. I don't think it's a ghost.
Okay, all right. You guys are going to be banned from being ghost hunters if this continues.
But I mean, you have to think this way because
I agree.
Everything's going to be a ghost.
Yeah. No, Steve, you're 100% correct. You have to be skeptical. All right, let's.
You got one more, right?
Let's move on.
Here's like, I got this one.
Gentlemen,
this is gonna be it.
Please control yourself. Okay, so we've shown a lot of photographs, and a lot of people watching, and you guys have all poo-pooed it and said it's all BS. But I'm about to show a photograph. I'm about to show a photograph which is legit, which is real. And which I'm sure everyone on the show this evening will 100% agree is absolute, total proof of something. What that something is, I don't know. But this is known as the Toys R Us ghost. Now, you may or may not be familiar with this case. I'm hoping that you guys are. Toys R Us ghost, 1978, Sunnyvale, California, not too far from where I am right now. There was a Toys R Us store where the employees would notice some very, very strange things. In other words, they'd come into the store in the morning, they'd open the store, they'd go in, and toys would be taken off the shelf and stacked into a pyramid or into different shapes on the floor. Things would move. It was very unnerving in this store. So they called in some psychical researchers to look into it, and they actually had cameras set up, and they had a seance one night where they all sat down in a circle in one of the aisles in Toys R Us, and they had a remote camera snapping pictures, and they took this photograph right here. Now, if you look at this photograph, you can see, a bunch of employees and researchers. This is in the middle of the night, all sitting down, having a kind of seance to try and contact whatever spirit or ghost is in the store. And they took these photographs, and this one in particular is particularly effective and or unnerving. Can any of you looking at this photograph right now tell me why this is such a disturbing photograph?
I see a hitchhiker.
Anyone else? Bueller?
Someone in the background, or the big exposure of light.
He's got
that's right
flared
right
jeans on.
So, what's great about this photograph is Stutley Constable is ruining it for everyone again. He's saying the Toys R Us photo is fake. The ghost clothes of vintage. No. Let me show you right here. I'm gonna go over here.
He's gonna show us.
You see this dude right here standing here in the background right here? See this guy? When the photograph was taken, he wasn't there. There was nobody standing up.
Okay, so
all
let's
these
clarify.
all these people
what
sitting
year
down.
was this photo taken?
This photograph was taken in 1978.
Okay.
The guy standing here, this guy right here, this dude, he was not there.
Okay, so the accounts, what do we have in terms of accounts of who witnessed what, and how do we know this person was not there?
Well, all the people sitting down in this photograph, all these guys, they all claimed that nobody was standing up. Everyone was sitting down, and they don't recognize that person.
So can I make a observation here?
Absolutely.
So if you look at the photo, the individual to the right-hand side that's right above the sort of light flare is actually looking in the direction of that individual.
Yeah, I see that. I was noticing that.
There is, yeah, like the child with the dark hair,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I see that too. Okay, show's over. No.
We're breaking it down.
No, I mean it's good. I mean, I've often thought. I have to say. I mean, I've often thought about all Toys R Us, they're all closed down now. They're all gone. But I've often thought about driving up to Sunnyvale. It's not too far from me, and going and checking it out. But I'm assuming it doesn't exist anymore.
They're not closed here in Canada.
Man.
Really? Toys R Us is still going in Canada?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're long gone over here, dude. They shut them all down.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a Canadian company that bought out the Canadian rights to the Toys R Us, so they kept them open.
Right. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our photographic presentation. What's the conclusion we've reached here? Can we trust ghost evidence as far as photograph? But
No.
Not too much.
No, we cannot. We have to take it with the big picture. We have to look at the situation where the photograph was taken, how many people witnesses. We have to look at the big picture as far as when and where the photograph was taken and what were the circumstances. We can't just simply take the photograph on face value. You know, any final words? Let's go to Justin. Justin, any final words on ghostly photographic evidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also a criteria we should have. I think you mentioned it. Overall, we should at least have something that shows before and after. And I can agree with some people in the chat a little bit with that film is a little bit better to take some validity for than just digital right now. And just overall, if you're going to be out there testing and experimenting, make sure you use different cameras. I used to use a Polaroid back in the day. Nothing came up, but I used to use Polaroid a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed Zach Bagans use a Polaroid all the time.
Yeah, and nothing's come up.
Just pushing buttons. Let's see. Alex, your take. Photographic evidence.
No, I don't think it's 100%. Yes, he's laughing. Yeah, you can't rely on it. At the end of the day, it's also very subjective. So you may think you see something there that wasn't there, but really people's memories are very faulty. There may have been, like in that last photo, for example, there may have been someone there that they didn't realize was there. And then it may have been obviously it would have had to have been one of the crew, and then maybe sat down after the picture was done. And they just didn't realize that he was standing there. I mean, on the picture, it was clear that one of the people was looking in that direction.
Sure. Steve?
Cover all your bases. When you're dealing with photography, depending on if it's film or digital, whatever medium it is on, make sure you look at every possible scenario.
Yeah.
If you don't, and you simply claim that you have some sort of evidence, then of course you're going to be scrutinized beyond belief. Make sure before you make those claims that you do that on your own.
No, I agree completely. And I should add, even though everyone on the show today was very skeptical over these photographs, we all know from personal experience that paranormal phenomena really does exist. Okay,
there are anomalies.
It's a reality. It's as real as the chair you're sitting on. But evidence in regard to photographic evidence, video evidence, audio evidence is always open to question, because unfortunately the paranormal field is a magnet for the liars, the con men, and the mental cases. Unfortunately, but it's true. It's very true. As we wrap up the show this evening, let's see where everyone can find everybody else. You can find me, of course, on this channel, the Mindset Central channel. I would ask you all, if you are listening right now, please subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that when we do this again, you will be aware and be able to tune in and listen to us yap about all things supernatural. So please do that if you can. Let's go over to Justin first. Let's go ahead and talk to Justin and see, where can you reach Justin on the internets? Where can we where can we find you, Justin?
Well, you can find me here on Mindset Live, and you can find me right back there at the AnonymousRealNetwork.net.
There you go.
And as well as Justin Villarreal on Facebook, because it looks like I might be doing more Facebook Live stuff. I got a lot of good feedback on that. So yeah, we're going to do podcasting, a little live video, and maybe some Facebook Live on everything I got going on here.
Excellent. Let's shoot over to Steve. Steve, where can people discover your wares?
The radio show can be found, Nocturnal Frequency Radio can be found live every Sunday night between 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New Visions Radio Network, which is www.newvisionsradio.com.
Hey, you didn't say exclusively.
Exclusively. Exclusively. And who knows, soon to be simulcasted on our new YouTube channel.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
well, let's shoot over to Alex so he can give us details on the YouTube channel. Alex, where can you be discovered on the internet?
Under a rock.
Under a rock. There you go.
Yeah. I'm the co-host of Nocturnal Frequency Radio, so you can catch me on there as well. The new YouTube channel will be youtube.com/user/Nocturnal Frequency 1.
Awesome.
Or just type in Nocturnal Frequency in the search chat.
Yeah, I don't think you need to use the user part. They can just go to youtube.com/Nocturnal Frequency 1 and they should be able to find you. But that about wraps it up. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming on and listening to us live. I hope you enjoy it. Spread the word.
As well as the chat.
As well as the chat. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Luke, Evil. I always want to say Evil Ed from Fright. Yeah. From Fright Night. Yeah. I always want to say Brewster. And Stutley and Steve Willis. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us during the show. We really appreciate it. Thank you once again. Please spread the word. Subscribe to the Mindset Central YouTube channel. We will be back next week with even more ghostly and scary and terrifying topics. and funny also. So thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you all again next week. Thanks for tuning in. Farewell,
Take care, guys.
Good brothers.
Take care.